Hey there, everybody. Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter from CarterMatt.com.
This video is setting the table for the circle. We are all about to enter this new dimension. She can do the circle for you. I cannot draw a circle. I can't do the thing with the hands. I am useless in this for anything other than talking about the circle. And it is coming onto Netflix tomorrow. And we just thought this would be a good opportunity where if you love Big Brother, and I know a lot of you do, I think you probably know we love Big Brother by now, to just give you a good sense of why you're probably also going to love this.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about this show.
There's a lot, and I think it's going to be an enjoyable, fun little thing for us to talk about through January on the channel, and there's a lot of things that are coming up insofar as episodes, and what we're planning to do is every week that they launch some episodes, they're going to come out in batches. We will have 2 videos a day for now. We'll see how things go, but that's sort of our plan for the time being.
Yeah.
But before we dive into this, if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any other updates. Now, The Circle, there are already international versions of it out there.
Yeah, there are.
And,
so some of you might already be familiar with the setup.
We have not seen the international versions. Like, this is one of those things I'm pretty sure we've been told like 20 times to watch. And it's just what happens in the fall is we get buried just under stuff.
Yeah, we cover so many shows, and if you're here on the channel with us, you know how many shows we're covering. It's a lot.
Yeah, and the holidays is basically like where we're able to sort of like get our head above water and like breathe for a second.
Yeah, and check out some stuff that we don't normally get to check out.
Yeah, but I think this will be a great thing for everyone to watch and enjoy in the new year. But we want to set up kind of how this works first and foremost. So, kind of like Big Brother, you're all going to be, the contestants are all going to be in the circle, which is like this building of sorts where they all live. But twist, they're not living in the same room together.
Yeah, they're all kind of in their own separate little apartment.
Yeah, and they don't get to see each other.
Yeah, they can't see each other, and they can't actually speak to each other.
Yeah, so just imagine, like, you remember the Big Brother punishment where you go into isolation, and I know Dan Kiesling had to do this, and, like, except that is the entire game, except I'm sure you get treated better than you do on those punishments where they, like, give you, like, a loaf of bread and, like, this very little else.
Yeah, these guys are set up in apartments, so
Yeah.
they'll be at least a little bit more comfort than just kind of being locked up for 24 hours.
Now, it does still feel to me like you would slowly and surely lose your mind doing this show, but that may be kind of the point. I feel like...
I feel like they probably don't give you too much to do so that you will want to strategize and kind of work that angle.
Do you think that this is secretly a rejected Black Mirror episode? Because I kind of feel like it is.
Oh, it definitely feels like it is. It feels a lot sort of like Nosedive, if you guys have watched that particular Black Mirror episode. It's all sort of feels like that with, influence and like how popular people are and how your social standing is. It's all sort of like that.
Yeah, so the function of the show is you get everyone into these little apartments and they communicate entirely via this interface of sorts where you can send messages to the group, you can send messages to individuals, and probably the most entertaining part of all of this is you can be whoever you want to be in the circle.
Yeah, because nobody can actually see you.
Yeah.
Sort of all set up with pictures you've chosen beforehand and just texting almost, like messaging, sliding into someone's DMs kind of feeling, but you don't actually hear anybody's voice, you can't actually see anybody, so you can go into this game with a strategy of being a completely different person, or you can go in and be very genuine, you can go in and be anything, which is what's really exciting about it.
I have an idea. If I was on the circle, everyone, here's what I would do.
Here we go.
I would tell them...
This is Matt's casting tape right here.
I'm Batman.
Really?
And then I would be tempted to do because it would just be so funny. Even if you didn't last very long, it's just like Batman is in the circle. and then just try to like do the entire game as Batman. Oh man, I would have so much fun. But no,
I would be really terrible at this game because I'm just really crappy at lying and pretending to be something I'm not, and I feel like you kind of need a little bit of that you know, you go on Instagram and everybody looks perfect and all that sort of thing. Everybody's eating the greatest food and the lighting's perfect all the time. And I am the complete opposite of that. I'm just like what you see is what you get kind of thing. And I don't know how that's going to play out in this game or if there's even anybody who's going to try to play it that way.
Yeah, it's so curious because like so much of this game is going to be influenced based on, you know, how popular your other players perceive you as based on what you give them via this interface.
Yeah.
And, you know, Instagram is such an aggressive platform in a lot of ways because it's just sort of like, you know, look what I'm eating and you're not. It's like, that's really what it feels like a lot of it is.
Look how cute my baby is.
Yeah. It's all like basically just bragging about how cool you are or some of the things you are is doing. But you can't do that fully on this show because if you just like rub it in everyone's faces, how cool you are all the time, then eventually you get to a point where other players can eliminate you by basically being like, you think you're popular, we're all going to evaluate you because you evaluate other players and you sort of grade them, and the people who, ultimately people who are the influencers, the ones who are voted the most popular, they can have a lot of power in this game. So if you go in thinking you're hot stuff, they can be like, nope.
Yeah, it's like influencer Jenga almost. You really have to be careful to strike that right balance of being popular enough to stay, but not so popular that people are like, okay, you're a problem. You might win this game. You have too much power. You got to get out of here.
Yeah, influencer Jenga, by the way, should be on the poster for the circle. That is a good motto.
Thank you.
But no, I think though, if I was to actually play the circle, like outside of my joking be Batman suggestion, I think how to play it, at least, you know, from the very limited amount of information that I have right now, I would probably do something where I would be partially myself. Like, you know, I don't think there's a point in trying to act like you're somebody totally different, but you know, try to insert some other information about yourself. Try to find ways to connect. Like if you feel like you're surrounded with a lot of jocks, I would probably start being like, you know, I don't have a lot of friends who are really big football fans, but, you know, I'm on that couch every Sunday rooting for insert team name here.
Well, that's the thing about this show. It feels like you need to go in kind of in some ways without a plan until you kind of start to see who some other people are. Because if I was to go in this show with a plan, it would just be to be myself and hope for the best.
Yeah.
But if I go in there and I see that maybe like all the other women there are all Instagram models, I'm dead in the water. There's nothing I can really do with that. I'm not going to be part of that group. I'm always going to be on the outskirts of that.
So I feel like that's where adaptability is key, and then you have to try to find a way of being like, okay, how can I turn these models against each other and like infiltrate them from within?
That's right.
And so I think there's a lot of devious fun things you can do, and to sort of bring this all back to Big Brother, like a lot of times I know Big Jeff in those interviews pregame asks people, you know, do you have a set strategy? And some people come in there and they're like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And ultimately, the best strategy is I'm going to play hard, but I'm going to play based on what everyone around me is doing.
Yeah, it's Big Brother's a game where you have to be able to adapt because whatever strategy you go in with, and then it turns out the people in the house are not in line with what you were planning to do, your strategy doesn't mean anything. It's just going to fold. And this game feels a lot like that too.
Yeah.
You have to have at least sort of a little bit of an idea of who you want to be going into this, but you need to be able to switch it up just in case.
And the fun thing is that to go along with that adaptability, which is central to Big Brother, there's also the element of trust. And I feel like it's even harder on a game like The Circle because you don't really get to have like those handshake conversations. You don't get to be in the same room with them and make, you know, dumb alliance names with each other. Like you have to just find a way to have some conversations with somebody, because if you could sort of form alliances, at least in theory, like let's say you and I were playing The Circle together and I'm like, you know what, I want to go far in the game with you. I need you to, rate me very highly on all these sort of things. And
I
then
need to be the Batman in this alliance.
I have to be Robin. This is disappointing now. But I can do the voice.
All right.
Okay, well, no.
We can both be the Batman.
Okay, there we go. Co-Batman, everyone. Thank you very much. But no, well, we can make an alliance where we can both agree that, hey, we're going to vote each other up so that we're both fairly high up in there, and maybe that brings the two of us further. But I guess hypothetically, the fun thing is, if somebody else is able to figure out these two are voting, they're seemingly supporting each other and agreeing, then they could sort of maybe blow up our spot.
It just feels like it would be... Unless somebody's blowing up their own spot, because nobody's in the house with each other, you can't see how people are interacting with each other. It's really just all text on a screen. So you don't know who's being even honest with you, if you really are in an alliance, or if you are in an alliance and you guys are both loyal, why would you ever tell anybody else? And no one else can ever figure it out. It is really a social game show. It is all the best social parts of Big Brother put into a game, and that's where it is. Yeah, like, it doesn't feel on the surface like, being physically strong is going to help you all that much. It doesn't feel like, it doesn't feel like, because this is Netflix and the model's very different, it doesn't feel like this is something where America is probably going to have that much outside interference. No, but it does feel like if you're not really a social media person, like me, I have no Facebook, I have a tiny little Instagram, I'm only on Twitter for my job. I've said it on Twitter, I've said it on here. If I didn't have this job, I would be a ghost online. For someone like me, who's not a big social media type person, I would find this game pretty difficult. Because I feel like you need to have a little bit of an understanding of sort of how it works, different sort of pictures, different sort of how to talk to people online, because if you don't have that kind of savvy of not sliding into someone's DMs and sending them pictures that you shouldn't be, but you know what I mean, that kind of, you have to have online social skills. I think the other thing is just sort of like, I'm comfortable being on social media. I'm not addicted to it per se, but he's pretty good on it. But like, I feel like it's a situation where if I was playing this game, I wouldn't be the most knowledgeable in there with that. I would probably just be really devious, and I would probably have a lot of fun with it, because the idea of just like screwing with all of these people feels very, and maybe I shouldn't be on these shows because I would be too much of the villain. Like you're gonna go on there and catfish people. Well, it would just be, it's a funny environment, and if you could unsettle people and try to find a way to make them kind of all work against each other and just kind of play the middle and not be too popular but not be in danger, I think that's the optimal way to play this, but that's just me from the outside looking in. Yeah, it feels like, and I know that in Big Brother it's, you're kind of floating, you're in the middle, you're not really whatever, but this feels like a game where if you're kind of in the middle and you're not like, the most unpopular person, but you're not the most popular person, then you can get through this game a little bit better. It's what it feels like, but I don't know. Well, that would be my strategy. I want to be in the middle. Yeah, I think playing the middle is smart, but the last thing I think we can just say here before we set up everything that we're going to be talking about in the episodes, but, we've seen the very start of it so far, and I will say this, I think it's really, really fun. Like, we would not lead you guys astray. No, it is really fun. We won't give too much away, but I don't know any other word to use. It is fun. It is funny. Yeah. There's a lot of, if you love that social part of Big Brother, you are really going to enjoy this show. It is fun. Yeah, and we'll just leave it at that for now. I mean, it's not like we're leaving you hanging for that long. I mean, we will be back tomorrow to talk about the actual first episode, but I hope you guys check it out. I hope you come back to the channel. We'll be talking about it throughout January, but all right, well, if you've seen The Circle and you want to try, or at least international editions, and you want to try to, pump up other people and get people excited, tell us in the comments what to be excited for. And if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking that link in the description to the Carter Matt store, and we'll see you here next time.